first thing that I struggle with is whether or not to eat meat. So I've been a vegetarian for the last 13 years, and I still believe that, let's zoom out for a bit. I believe that the most moral, ethical diet is the vegan diet. I mean, when I think about it, I firmly believe that animals are very sentient beings, and they have a larger capacity to feel pain than a plant. So if I can abstain from eating animals, I am causing a lot less harm during my stay on planet Earth. So why would I not do that? And so that is from a moral standpoint, I think it makes the most sense. But from a health standpoint, eating meat does make some sense. For example, I recently read, semi-recently, a couple years ago, I read Jim Kwik's book, Limitless, and he talks about how salmon, not only does it have a lot of protein content, but it is incredibly good for your brain. So I think there are a lot of health benefits to eating meat. And I mean, you could get a ton of protein. And I mean, you can get enough protein eating plants. Like I'm a vegetarian, but you have to eat a lot of volume. And I think it is a lot easier to hit your protein numbers if you were to have some meat in your diet. And then also, again, there's some actual health benefits, similar to eating salmon, with it being good for your brain. And so, and then I think there's also this little bit of a caveman in all of us, where I'm sure our ancestors ate meat. So there's a little bit of us that wants to eat meat, even though it causes harm. So currently the middle ground I found is being vegetarian, where I don't actually eat meat, but I eat animal products. So I eat eggs, sometimes eat cheese, sometimes eat yogurt. But that is the middle ground I've found. But I still sometimes think maybe I should just occasionally eat some salmon, because that would be really good for my health. And I think I would have more muscle on my body if I occasionally, even like once a week, had some salmon. But at the same time, I don't want to hurt these innocent creatures. And so again, I struggle with this because both sides are pretty compelling to me. The health, the hardwiring, and then also like the ethical, the moral. They kind of sit on opposite ends of the spectrum. And I found a middle ground that is okay, but I sometimes think about eating salmon. I sometimes actually think about going vegan, going more towards the moral. I don't really know if vegetarianism is the right spot to be, if I should be vegan, or if I should go towards eating meat sometimes. I don't know. So that's something that I struggle with. The second thing I struggle with is sometimes I ruminate over an awkward interaction for maybe a little bit too long. I remember recently I met this couple, and I shook the guy's hand, and he held onto my hand just a little too long. So at the end, I loosened my grip because I was trying to pull my hand away, and I ended up giving him kind of a limp handshake. And then I was thinking about that the whole time I was talking to him, I was just thinking, man, I want to just shake this guy's hand again. And I was having a lot of trouble listening and being present, and I was just feeling awkward about that handshake. And I to be honest, thought about it for too long. I should have just let it go. I should have literally just let it go and moved on and gave myself grace, realized that I'm a human being, and I'm not always gonna be smooth. I'm gonna be awkward sometimes. And I think giving myself that grace would have been good, but I struggle with doing that. I struggle a little bit sometimes with thinking too much about an awkward interaction. So that's the second thing I struggle with. And then the third thing that I struggle with lately is how much to party. If you're watching this channel, you're probably ambitious. I want to do a lot of things in this life. I want to achieve a lot, externally and internally, and I struggle sometimes with knowing how much to party, because obviously if I go out, have some drinks with friends, stay out late, it's the next day I'm not going to be able to put as much time into work. I'm not going to be able to even over the weekend. Lately I've been enjoying doing some weekend work, but I'm not going to be able to put in time to this channel or maybe do some weekend coding, whatever it is, or work on fitness, or whatever it is. I'm not going to be able to do it as well if I go party. But at the same time, going and partying sometimes, you get that bond. There's something about just staying out late, having some drinks, letting yourself loosen, just completely loosen up, which I think is very healthy. So I struggle with how much. Is Is it every weekend? I think that seems a little bit too much because I sometimes just crush work on the weekends. Is it every 2 weeks? Is it a month? Is there no cadence? Is it just, are there seasons of life where I party more, seasons of life where I party less? I don't actually have the answer to how much makes sense. So that's another thing I struggle with. When do I say no to a social event, like a partying event, and when do I say yes? So anyway, these are the 3 things that I struggled with recently. I just thought I'd share this for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a thumbs up, and I will talk to y'all on the next one.